Welcome back on the Moon Live.
Holy
Here we are.
Shit, we're back.
Welcome back. Smoke break.
Smoke break once
Smoke
again.
break.
Yeah, I've been really needing a fucking smoke break this week.
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
Speaking of smoke break,
Oh, we got a little smoky stuff?
we got these Gelato 41 little
wow.
pre-rolls here that we'll fuck with.
I mean, right off the
this one's
top,
already open. You can go ahead and...
right off the top, gelato is one of my favorite strains of all time. All time.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows about that. I'm going to have to move this mic out of the way for a second. Yeah. Elements by Elements. Last time we had Derek Jeter shit, now we're having Elements. Cool.
We had them Jeter eaters.
This time this is sponsored by Adobe, I think. Photoshop Elements, right? As we're about to find out.
High Tide Organics from High Tide Delivery. That's what I picked up from today. Let's see how this goes. Let's see. It says 26% THC. So we'll see how that shit goes. This motherfucker already halfway in it and shit.
Yeah, it smokes pretty nice.
See that lighter? Definitely have to light one up for this shit, because fucking hell. It's been a crazy... This year has already been crazy. This year is already...
2021, yeah.
I feel like this year is already trying to top last year. Like,
Nah, it's going to be hard to top it, but I guess.
and it's funny because I tweeted the other day, last week, I tweeted that...
Hold on. I see it more as a hangover, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay.
Instead
I
of
feel
like
that.
a follow-up.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's just still leaking into 2021. Like, hey.
Well, I tweeted the other day, and I still stand by this, that the 20s are going to be a crazy-ass decade in the history of not only our country, but in the history of man.
I love that you brought that up, because since like about 10, maybe 15 years ago, I started thinking about the fact that we were born at a time where it's literally turn of the century, right? We were right at the turn of the century, and I'm like, oh shit, we're kind of like the people at the beginning, at the turn of the 20th century, right? They were in the 1900s, then they got to the 10s, but nobody ever talks about the 10s for some reason. But it always, like, the beginning of a century always feels like it starts at the 20s. Right? Like the roaring 20s. Like, that's when the U.S. finally started going, not 19... What happened in 1910? Other than, like, the Titanic sinking or some shit.
And I think, wasn't that even in the 20s?
I don't know. I think it was, like, 1912, to be honest. 1912. If anybody's in the chat, let us know when the Titanic sank. But I'm going to say 1912 right now. 1912. All right? I'm barely a little bit into this joint, so I think I'm good, people.
What year did you say?
1912.
Damn, this motherfucker is on. Spot on. April 14th, 1912.
Damn, see? 1912. So that's the most significant shit that happened in the 10s. At the beginning of the century. Come on, that's weak.
And that was already, yeah.
That's weak. We had...
That was already deep.
You know what happened at the turn of our century right off top? 9/11. That's one year into the century.
Mm-hmm.
What
That's
the
true.
fuck?
That's definitely true. 1 year in and fucking...
No, yeah, I guess if we're going to talk about like crazy times, like how come eventually they will, but nobody ever talks about it in big chunks like centuries, right?
Right.
Like the 21st century has already been crazy.
Oh.
Ironically, because we're in year 2021.
Yeah.
21st.
Yeah,
From the 20th to the 21st century, 2021. Oh, shit. All you conspiracy theorists out there. Here we go.
Oh, shit. QAnon right here. We got him. We found him. We
Well-
found Q.
Actually, it's more like a professional hobby. It's nothing serious. Oh. Hey, man, these elements. What
That's
is
not
it?
bad. That's not bad, yeah.
These are fucking coming together like Captain Planet elements and shit. Jesus
Yeah, I fucks with
Christ.
them.
All right. By the way, speaking of crazy races and shit, not those kind of races, you fucking racists out there. Look, I'm talking about the Scudetto race, baby. Yo, Scudetto race has been crazy. The Milan teams are in the hunt, man.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad. Good because it's not Juve.
So
that.
So how do you feel like that's just gonna end up playing out? Because early into the season, you were saying that you didn't think that Inter got it. Now you feel like Inter got it?
I still don't feel like they got it. And that's why I was going to say it's kind of sad. Because it's like, it's good that the Milan teams are in the race, right? Because it's not Juve.
Mm-hmm.
But it sucks that, like, because even though Inter had gotten better, you know, the prior year, right. The Conte thing was beautiful. It was romanticized. It was really romantic. We still didn't expect to win in, like, not even this season. Like, maybe next season. This was still going to be, like, we're going to get closer to Juve. It's going to get interesting, but we still need maybe, like, 2 more pieces. And Milan was in shambles. Everybody knew that, like, nothing was going to happen with Milan for a while, so it was like, eh. And then they just come out of nowhere just because they get Zlatan? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's ridiculous. And Conte's just ruining our future to win now, and we're not even going to win now. So that's frustrating.
Well, what I can say is it has made Serie A pretty interesting. But that's not why the fuck we are here today. That is not what the fuck we're here to talk about.
It's definitely not Italian news. Different kind of stripes for sure. Stars and stripes.
So fucking I mean, obviously there's been a lot of crazy shit happening the last couple of days, particularly yesterday. We had Bitcoin reaching a new all-time high.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Bitcoin busting through that all-time high to reach another all-time high today.
Yeah.
But yesterday, while it was setting its all-time high, simultaneously the Snowflake Rebellion was going on in Washington D.C. You had a bunch of fucking goofy authoritarian supporters trying to fucking overthrow Congress or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do. They were throwing a party more than they were overthrowing the government. I'll tell you that. They were fucking, that shit was the softest rebellion I've ever fucking heard about ever in my life.
It looked like the old jammy jams. Remember the jammy jams where people wear pajamas and go party to like fucking house music and shit?
It was a pajama party and shit.
That, and then it evolved into like foam parties. I never got that because it's like, why do I want to be sticky and wet?
Why do you want to be all wet?
Yeah, and sticky. Yeah, like that's gross, dude. And drunk. Like, nah. I never did the foam shit, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, yesterday was pretty fucking nuts. So, like, what?
The softest coup in the history of coups?
I mean, fuck. Dude,
I mean, could you even call it a coup at that point? Like, it was more cuckoo than coup, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, man. But the Craigs were out there. And you know which kind of Craigs. You know which Craigs I'm talking about. We've seen you out there. We've seen you out there. Wearing helmets.
Conservative Craig was out there.
I mean, unfortunately, some tragic shit did happen, but I mean, there was some ridiculous shit happening out there.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I think it's a total of 5 people died, including 1 cop. Two men, 2 women, and 1 cop. I'm assuming was a male, but I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely unnecessary.
Like, you died for Trump.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a good one to die for. Like, Obama's not a good one to die for. None of them are good ones to die for.
No, basically what you just said, that's like the equivalent of, like, dying for Best Buy. Like, I'm never going to die for Best Buy. You know what I'm saying? Because Best Buy doesn't give a fuck about me. You know what I mean?
Hell no.
But Best Buy loves to get me in their stores. They love me investing. When I do right by Best Buy, they make it seem like they're hooking me up, right?
Right.
But they've always been overcharging me, and they've been overcharging everybody blatantly. So it's the same shit.
Yeah,
it's the same shit. But yeah, I get you. Without the analogy needing to be made, like, it's very clear. Like, you just died for somebody who's not even riding for you.
I mean, these folks, like, it's a cult, man. On both sides, though. But particularly yesterday, we're just talking about them right now. We could talk about the summer shit and all that other shit later, but yesterday, that shit was completely... To be honest, I feel like that shit's like borderline treason. Like, that shit is real fucking close, if anything.
Well,
and like, just to be clear, like, I feel like you should overthrow your government when they try to take away your rights, or they try to tax you to death, or they impact your particular life, your rights, your liberties. Right. But to try to overthrow a government or try to occupy the government in order to overturn an election,
like just to get what you want, like a whiny, kind of like a whiny little baby.
Like, the thing is, like, I get it. Like, I get what your grievances are. Like, I don't think it was a fucking good election either. I don't think it was right. Like, I think there's some bullshit going on. However, I still haven't seen any solid evidence that there was massive, large voter fraud. There are a lot of things that are fucking weird.
Yeah.
They're like, I mean,
like, it has its faults. There's definitely places where it can be fixed, where it can be improved. Right, or things can be changed.
That's what I'm at. That's where I'm at.
But like, it's not so crazy, like, to the level of conspiracy theory. Like, oh my god.
Right. Like, I mean,
oh my god.
There are some very odd things that happen. Sure. Right. But let's address that, and let's go through one by one and get the full evidence of each one and present them into your fucking over however many court cases you went to and got thrown out of court because the lawyers weren't willing to provide any evidence to the judges and to the prosecutors when they went into to the attorneys and all that, when they went into the whole mix. So if they're not going to present the information, if they're not going to present the facts, then that probably means they don't have none, right?
Yeah, but how much of it too is just like less, like, people just don't want that either, because that's a little bit of work also, and people just want, like, it to really be like a Manchurian candidate. You know what I mean? Just for the fun and just wildness of it.
Well,
right?
Like, look, I get
Internet
it. Like,
culture,
right? It's like some people want to see the world burn, right?
The
famous saying from Batman and shit. But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, like, I would like to see a lot of reform happen in this country.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we need to form some sort of, like, committee or something that can analyze how we can add into the Constitution, like, a structure for voting to be consistent in all 50 states, and to give every state that equal level of, like, how people vote, like, how the votes are processed, and how all that information funnels up into Congress so they can make the decision that they made yesterday without having to face all these kinds of issues. Right? I mean, it's 2021, right? Like, the technology is there to handle the elections properly, for sure, right? And some people will be like, oh, but if it's digital, you can manipulate it. Very true. However, if you put that shit on blockchain, right? You can't manipulate it. It's a public ledger. It's visible to anybody that can look into it and read it. And you could see anybody would be able to audit. Any citizen would be able to audit the votes. Right? Because it'll be public on a public blockchain. Right? And I feel like that is somehow needs to figure out a way into how we reform voting rights. Now, the problem is setting up guidelines for how votes are conducted and tallied. That not all of that is in the Constitution. So that would have to get added to the Constitution, and not like...
Well, there's a lot of shit that's got to get added to the Constitution.
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
Yeah, of course.
Right. It's just one of those things where it's like, Why haven't we looked into that and tried to rewrite that in a long time? Like, that also doesn't make sense.
Right. Like, why haven't we tried to, like, modernize the voting process?
Right, because it's okay to be, like, here's the problem. It's okay to be traditionalist. Like, I'm fine with that. There's a level of me that kind of wants that, too. That likes the traditionalism of, like, early America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what all this was going to become. So, leave a lot of that good shit in there, but just rework it for modern times. Just be a little realistic. You know what I mean? There's nothing hard about that. The only problem with that is it's really an economic problem more than anything. Yeah. And that's another problem that we face that we haven't faced. And we're already seeing, back to your point, wild shit like this happening. Like people storming government buildings when shit is still not all that bad. Right? And
but
people still haven't gotten a real chance to complain about Biden. Because we're still trying to figure out if it is Biden, even though it is. Right. I'm just talking about what's happening. Sure. Yeah. I'm just talking about what's happening in the general populace, or like the idea of everything. Like the idea that this guy still even has a fucking fighting chance is hilarious. You know what I mean?
No, and then as soon as, Trump was suspended yesterday from Twitter for 12 hours, and Facebook suspended him until after the inauguration. So, but as soon as his Twitter became available today, they released a video. He conceded. He conceded it. That was it. It was done.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to play those games.
No.
He wants to go back to being billionaire Trump now.
And to me though, the problem, I just have issue with Twitter.
Yeah,
suspending the account for 12 hours, only because it didn't really give him a chance to respond. And some of those messages that were deleted, that they made him delete, or that they deleted themselves, like it was like telling the protesters to go home in peace.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it was kind of like, let him, this is what you want him to do, but then you're not going to let him do it type shit. You know what I mean? And
okay, but like here's something that's like, that sucks, that's already true, and it already happened. And I think some people already see it, and some people are still kind of in shock, so they're not sure. Like, it feels temporary. But no, like, social media now censors whoever they want.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't even have to be a public figure.
Oh, yeah. No,
like, if you just post something that they think is kind of funny, it's off already.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not even scared to just put their own little disclaimer about it.
Like, if you guys start thinking we're funny, they're going to come for us, too.
Yeah.
Just for thinking we're funny. Watch.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's where it's at. That's the beginning. Let's remember this, since it's going to go down in recorded history, but that's the beginning of 2021. That's the beginning of 2021. So we can look back on this in 2031, 2041, like, damn. Like, that was a significant moment where, like, a lot of things changed overnight, and we just accepted it.
So
because we had a rough year.
Do you think that we really will see some positive changes? Like,
no, yeah, I think there's going to be changes on both ends of the spectrum, of course, as always. Like, there's definitely going to be positive and negative. Like, there's going to be reform in certain areas, but there's going to be anti-reform in certain other areas.
I feel like,
and as technology grows too, we're going to develop new problems.
That's what I was going to say.
You know what I mean? We're going to develop new problems.
I feel like all of this, it has been like an interesting ride the last couple of years. And it seems like technology is playing a bigger role in not our daily life, not just our daily lives anymore, but like the political structure of the government and how messaging is perceived and given and disseminated and spreads, right? Like how certain types of information hold more weight than other types of information just to the algorithms, only based on the source instead of the actual information coming through, right? So, So, like, yes, technology and everything has made it a lot easier for smaller creators and smaller journalists to come and, say what they got to say.
Yeah.
Right. But
it's also convoluted.
But it has also impacted a lot of really good journalists that really do the good work from spreading their work as well. Right. Because they're not CNN, Fox News, MSN, blah, blah, blah. Right. Because they're not with them.
Right. It's too independent still. Yeah.
Right. So
it's very considered still very raw freelance, I guess. Journalism, like the kind of journalism that you write, doesn't exist anymore because that's like anybody with a fucking phone, right?
Right.
It's basically a freelance journalist now.
Yeah.
And so it's that's the that's the death of journalism, the modern technology. Yeah, technology.
That we have a real issue, I think, facing us ahead, because in order to get information now it's weird, because it's easier, but it's also harder than ever, right? It's easy as fuck to get information now, but it's hard to get accurate, reliable information now. Right? Harder than it's probably ever been. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I mean, even word of mouth seems more reliable at this point than fucking half the shit you read on the internet coming from these main places. Right.
Oh no! It's like it's an ocean of information, and we're a couple meters deep.
Oh yeah! We're definitely deep.
We're a couple meters deep, so it's like
we're dummy deep.
We're in the thick of it. We'll never really know at this point.
Right.
And I think that's, I guess, what you're saying is the most disappointing thing. Yeah, but on the contrary,
for sure,
like we're also able to broadcast this live. This show, we're doing it right now, live, and we're getting our word out. And we're spreading shit out.
Right.
Speaking of the ocean, just real quick, just to go on a little quick tangent. This is an actual tangent where I'm calling it, okay? So, I was at the beach the other day taking pictures, testing out a new camera. You know what I mean? And as I was watching
that camera, actually.
Yeah, that exact camera that we're looking so romantically into. But I was out there catching the sunset, and I was seeing like different things before, the horizon. There was an obvious marine layer in the distance, but it was like oil tankers, sailboats, and all this stuff. And the further I looked and just saw and just kept seeing endless water, I started thinking about it, and I was like, how fucking... And there's a question I have for you that I just want you to answer right now. Just because I want it to be as fresh as like the moment I thought about it. But it's like, how far away do you think that horizon line is that you could see? Like how many miles?
I think it's like, I forget what it was. I think it's like 30 miles or some shit like that.
Holy shit.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so like just off top, just to throw it out there, like.
I might be wrong. It might be way less, to be honest.
Just in case anybody's guessing out there, because, hey, man, this isn't a bad guess. I was thinking even crazier shit, which once I thought about it was really stupid. But I was a little high, too. But I was thinking like 100 miles. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, I can't see Palos Verdes that clear or Malibu. Like, so it's like, how could I all of a sudden see a 100-mile horizon? But still, it's a little bit different because there's no... You've got like no mountains or anything behind it. You got nothing but light.
So it's actually, I just looked it up. It's actually 3.1
miles. Yeah, I looked it up.
5 kilometers.
I looked it up while I was there, and it made so much sense.
Yeah,
I was like, no shit. Like that's all I could see. It's not, if I could see a lot further, like. It would be a lot further. Yeah, it'd be 100 miles if I was like an eagle or whatever.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but I was just tripping on that. It was a weird thought. Brought to you by, Chuey's Philosophy Minute. Thank you. Yeah. So I was doing that, and then I was scrolling through my phone, and and I seen that they're promoting this audio-only app, which you told me was supposedly it's Gary Vee shit, right?
I don't know. It's like I just see he been plugging it lately, yeah.
But it just and it's being promoted as like the new social media, and I might be fucking eating my words later because it might blow up. But it's supposedly only like audio or voice. So it just reminded me of the party line. You remember the fucking party lines?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't believe they're going to try to bring that back. But that makes sense.
I don't know why they would bring that shit back. I don't know.
Well, because it's at a point where, like, none of the younger generations really remember that.
Right.
I don't think.
So, Oscar said, yesterday was wild. Was this a necessary evil? Democracies fall all the time in other countries. Is it naive to believe that ours can continue to survive in this country?
Yeah. I mean, also this country's relatively young. Also, still, we love our history as Americans, and it is a great history for it being such a short history too. But it's a relatively short history compared to a lot of countries, and even a lot of countries in just America in general, in the continent, right? So that's the way I think about it sometimes. I'm like, wait a minute, guys. Like, this country still hasn't hit its stride as a country like most other countries have. You know what I mean? Most other great countries have gone through some shit. You know what I mean? The ones that end up becoming superpowers and great countries are the resilient ones. That's what we learn, And you're resilient based on, of course, many factors. The biggest are economy and military prowess, right?
Right.
The two most obvious. And it's just like, yeah. So it's pretty cool, like, how quickly this country's come to dominance. But it was going to have its moment of, where it's going to fall,
Yeah.
It's
Not
crumble.
everything goes up forever.
Not everything goes up forever.
Right.
And honestly, it's not crumbling, like, at an empirical, like, level. Like the way an empire like the Roman Empire or like the Greek Empire fell, out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, it's not going to happen. Not overnight, guys.
But my thing is like, first of all, just off top, like, democracies are the opposite of freedom.
Yeah.
Because in a democracy, you're controlled by the majority.
Right.
Right? Majority have control.
Right.
Right. And that is the opposite of you being free and having control of your own life. Right. As we've seen with all these extra laws, these rules, these regulations.
Right. But democracy's idea is that you can't handle freedom.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
you're too weak for it.
Yeah. That's absolutely
I just wanted to clear that.
Oh, yeah.
First.
No. That's absolutely clear.
Like, they're cool and all, but they're not exactly the definition of freedom.
It's, unfortunately, looking through history and other things, like, it's unfortunately one of the better ones, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the best way to look at it. You know what I mean? If you want to have a positive outlook towards it, a little bit.
I mean, are we the greatest democracy? I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever that means, I guess.
Well, because that's almost by just modern default, though. You know what I mean? Just because we happen to be the most modern one.
Right.
And we're just not that dumb.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If we were just a little bit dumber, oh, man, 2020, man, would have been calamitous.
And then realistically, like, we voluntarily, like, stay and work and live in this society, right?
Oh, yeah. No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, once you start looking, like, you've got to make it positive, right? And once you start making it positive in that sense, then you're like,
that's where the freedom is, right?
Right.
Because I could just go live out in the fucking woods.
Yeah, you could.
Right. If I just want to be free. Right.
Right.
But I want to be a part of society and what all that has to offer. So
right. Because there's also a bear out there that's pretty free.
Yeah.
And he'll rip right into your face pretty freely.
But he's really fucking hungry too. And he ain't got no Netflix.
Yeah, he's got no Netflix and he can smell through wood. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. He can smell through wood. So he's like, while you're throwing on your favorite episode of who knows what.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's about to throw on his favorite episode of, Prey. Yeah.
Well, probably not right now. It's winter, right? So he's chilling. He's sleeping.
Maybe, but global warming. These animals go hungry into the different seasons now.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Crazy shit. And they see people hobbled because of COVID.
Oh man,
I heard they adapted to
too.
COVID. Yeah, like they see people cough in the distance and they're like, "That's an easy one." That motherfucker can't breathe.
They already know.
That motherfucker can't breathe. Chase that son of a bitch. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, you cough a little bit and the bear's ears just prop up like, just. I seen it. Yeah, those animals evolve fast, man. They learn from the birds. They talk to the birds. Birds are like, let me tell you about these people, man.
That's funny.
Yeah. I said, do you ever think that birds sometimes, like, they pick their spots to shit? Because, like, they, like,
I mean, that's the common myth, right?
Well, yeah, like, what's the fucking thing with door handles, right? Oh, what the fuck? Like, a pole was right under my door handle? No way, dude. And their aim is impeccable sometimes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, I think if you fly around and shit a lot, you would probably get good at it, too.
That's true.
To be honest.
That's true. And if my shit was always liquid too, yeah. I guess it's like pissing.
It's like spitting.
Yeah, that
but from your butthole.
Yeah, a butthole spit. Yeah, that's the best kind. I almost regret not being able to aim with that shit. Jesus Christ. Oh shit. You know what I was thinking the other day? That I hate when this I don't know if this shit happens to you. But this is a new regulation that I want for 2021. Since we're talking about reform, and I'm being serious here, people. Some people might laugh at this shit. But there needs to be like a bylaw written in that there has to be absolute consent to be included in a group text. Dude, because that is the most unfucking fair thing that could happen in your motherfucking life. Okay? Because this is how it works. All right, well, this is what happened. But this isn't what happened on this group text. This is just my trauma from other group text. So a coworker just sent a group text to a bunch of people who have his, whose number he has. And he just sends a little 2021 thing. He's just trying to be nice. Right. He's like, yo, 2021, Happy New Year. But now you're seeing everybody respond forever. And you can't delete it. You know what I mean? And it's like, or how about that? Fuck the consent. Like, why can't we just delete it? Who is this fucking evil son of a bitch that invented group text? That's like, you can't delete a group text once it's started. You're locked in.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like, you could mute it. I get that. But it's like, I don't want it coming in. I don't know half of these people, and I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I don't give a fuck if they're having a happy 2021 or not. Like, I hate like that. That's annoying. So I was so mad at that coworker, and it's like, but then at the same time, it's like, you're just trying to be nice. But it was like, why like that? You fucked up. Like, don't do that, please.
You should file a harassment claim against him.
I thought about it because we just had to do that fucking stupid quiz at my job. I hate that shit. Yeah. It's annoying. It's the corniest shit in the world.
The acting is so bad.
Yeah, nobody does harassment like that anywhere. Yeah. It's the dumbest shit.
The acting is so bad, but yeah.
So, consent for group text, 2021. Hear me out. You know what I mean? That's a small one. You know what I mean? That's a little one. Yeah, I feel like we could do like a GoFundMe for that one and it'll happen,
Yeah.
like, hey, consent for group. Like, all that has to happen is a message comes up. It's like, hey, what's his name wants to invite you into a group text. I'm like, nah.
Give me the opt-in and the opt-out, though, right? I want to be able to opt out when I'm bored. Right. When I'm over this shit.
Right, give me both. Say, hey. Or if you can opt out, at least it tells you in the beginning, hey, this is one of the ones where, like, the user doesn't want you to opt out.
Well, fuck him and block him from ever fucking reaching out, calling me,
delete him from my shit. But do you
delete him from fucking life?
Okay, but do you think cell phones truly have a future, or do you think it's really going to be microchips? Like, we're just going to like...
That's a good question.
Like, we're just going to read text. Like, out of nowhere. Like, it's just going to start scrolling your eye.
Like, I think we're going to be Cyberpunk 2077?
I mean, yeah, but not to that extreme. Always never to that extreme.
I mean, to be fair. Because
not flying cars, but electric cars.
There's no flying cars.
Right, but electric cars. That's what I mean.
No, there's actually gas cars in there, too.
Where?
There's petrol cars in there too.
No. But I mean, in your idea of the future. I'm not even relating this to Cyberpunk. Yeah.
My idea
I'm saying instead of going all the way to flying cars, leave it as electric, right?
Oh, I would. There's never gonna be flying cars, dude. People can't drive as it is now. You expect them to fucking fly? Like,
no. The idea that when flying cars show up is it's gonna be full on like
autonomous.
Autonomous Ubers.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
They're gonna be drones, basically, giant drones. Yeah. I wouldn't get on a drone. Those shits are unreliable.
Look, like, is that shit gonna happen in our lifetime? Probably toward the end of it. Yeah, for sure. But
what, the microchip?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at some point.
That's what I'm saying. The history, like the future of the phone is done. Like, that's a short-term thing.
Oh, I mean.
Why?
Not necessarily short term. It's gonna be around. It'll be around longer than fucking. It'll be around longer than fucking radio was.
Okay, can I segue? Can I segue into like a complaint?
Even though, I mean, they run on radio waves.
Let me segue into a technology complaint that's actually gonna tie into this. Check this shit out. It's actually, you know what? I might start calling this my Apple complaint of the week. You guys see this shit right here?
We'll go to camera 2 on him. We'll go to camera 2 for him. Come on, go there now. Let's go. I don't know why I don't want to go.
All right, let's get to camera 2.
Well, maybe one day it'll get to camera 2. Who knows?
Okay, so camera 2's not working right now, but camera 1. See this shit right there? Yeah, look, they could see it right there. Yeah, that's an Apple phone. Okay, some of you may be like, okay, that's great. It's fantastic. You know, most of you guys have one. Well, I'm a longtime Android user. Used Android forever. I was never even on the first iPhone. You know what I mean? I didn't switch when the 8 changed the whole game. I didn't do none of that. Fuck the iPhones. But I'm also... Oh, shit. Camera 2's on?
Yeah, got it now. We back.
But listen. I'm also a part-time photographer, which I consider a professional hobby. Why not? See this little fucking iPhone right here? Yeah, this is a little segment we're going to call my little Apple complaint of the... I don't know if it's going to be of the week or the month, but we're going to find out how fucking often this shit pisses me off. Because I've been 1 year with this son of a bitch, right? Now, like I said, long-time Android user. Note 9, Note 7, the one that blew up in everybody's pocket. I had that shit. It worked fine for me.
And he took it on a plane, I think, too.
I took it on a plane. I took it everywhere. You know what I mean? I guess that's sort of terrorism, but you know what I mean?
It wasn't terrorism. It wasn't terrorism yet because they didn't ban it yet.
I guess. But once they banned it, they were like, you can't get on a flight. Actually, I think they had said that, but like they hadn't banned it completely. Like the airline wasn't checking. But anyways, to get back to my point. So I switched to Apple because it had a lot of stuff that kind of the app ecosystem that they had supported the photography hobby. You know what I mean? The professional hobby that I had. So I decided to switch to iPhone. And so I jumped on it in the iPhone 11. And right off the top, I was pleased. It was, at this point, they make really good phones. There's a lot of cool shit. I learned how to make my shit work like my Android almost overnight. To a point where, like, I would run into, like, Apple people, and they hated that, like, I could do things with my phone that they hadn't figured out how to ever do on any of their iPhones. And I was like, well, that's absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, to finalize my goddamn point, here you go. This screen right here, this little touch screen, it's a beautiful piece of glass. The other day, my alarm went off, had to go to work, woke up, tried to swipe up, and the screen would just not accept any kind of touch. And since my alarm was going off, the only thing it would allow me to do is press the side buttons, which would just snooze it. So at that point, I had two options. I was like,
sell it. Get rid of it.
Break this shit. Launch this shit into the fucking wall, or go grab a hammer and beat the fuck out of it. No. But seriously, like, I was like, okay, this thing's going to be ringing all day, so I can't bring it into work. I was going to leave it in my car, and I was just hoping that the battery died. And when the battery died, it would reset. But in the meanwhile, while all this shit was happening all day, because it took almost a whole day for it to die. I mean, at least the whole time while I was at work. So 8+ hours. Long story short, I ended up going to the phone to carrier store afterwards, and they just reset it. They didn't explain to me how they reset it, which was also annoying. I was like, well, how'd you guys do it so I could just do it at home? Because they did it fairly quick. So I was like, come on, man. And they were like, they didn't know how to explain it to me. They were like, oh, they have a thing back there. I was like, what do you mean a thing? The fuck does that mean? Like, you can't tell me it was a cord? Oh, you guys waved a wand? Anyways, so, yeah. Yeah, they did some sort of fucking Apple magic. But anyway. Apple Jacks. But the whole day, what was interesting to me more than anything, though, is that the whole day while the touchscreen wasn't working, and I was just, like, literally, like, I was tapping it, like, hitting it good, like, moving everything around, nothing happened, and I was like, this literally would be the biggest piece of shit if it were found 100 years from now, fossilized in rock, you know? Like, even if they took it out of the rock, okay? Like, yeah, it'd be a piece of glass. It'd be shiny. It would just look shiny like that. It'd just be shiny. That's what it would look like to them. But, like, touching it or doing anything like that would do nothing to it. It'd be the same like when people find, like, shiny rocks in the desert.
All right,
like
so
quartz.
what's your rant about? What is the main rant about?
My main rant is, like, why does shit happen like that with Apple products? Like, my phone never just... The touchscreen is the whole thing of the phone. That's everything. I couldn't do anything. You know what was even funnier when I went to the store to get it fixed? Like, they're like, oh, you got to wait in your car because COVID, right? And they were like, and we'll call you. And at first I just looked at them. I mean, because I was just like, well, I can't answer. I was like, well, I can't fucking answer my phone. You know what I mean?
Like, how
But then I was just like, well, whatever. When they call, that's just the cue, right? I was like, I'll just walk up. And it was crazy, too, because they were like, it's going to be 20 minutes. I walked into my car. I sat in there for, like, less than half a second, then turned it on because I wanted the radio on, but I didn't want to kill my battery and all that noise. And then, like, they started calling me. Oh, man. COVID is, like, post-COVID is going to be a little sloppy.
Yeah.
It's going to be slow reset.
Yeah.
Slow reset.
Yeah.
And it's already starting. But that's my first Apple rant of the week. That one's not that terrible. And I think that's why it may not go down as probably the worst one. But that's why. These are going to be weekly because there's always something with this shit. You know what I mean? Always something. So that's my complaint.
So, Bitcoin has hit its new all-time high.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because it hit...
It got over 40 grand today.
There's noise about it hitting 40 grand.
Right. It got over 40 grand today and then took a fat dip to like 26, 27.
Right. Which sort of kind of makes sense, but that's crazy still. That's a huge
Wait, no, I think
shift.
Not 26. I think it was fucking
like 36.
36.
Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. I was about to say,
36.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a wild ass day. But still, going above 40 and then going down to 36, that makes sense to me somewhat. But I'm not a crypto guy.
Yeah.
Like you are.
Right.
So what do you think that exactly means? And after you explain that, like, this is a two-parter. Can you also in your opinion, say if right now is the best time to invest? Go for it.
Well, as far as investing goes, like, it's on, like, what I put money in right now? Is that basically that question?
Should anybody?
Well, I can't answer for anybody. I can only answer for myself.
Well, and I guess I did say in your opinion. So just give us in your opinion. Would you? I guess the question is, would you invest money now?
I mean, I can say I'm not putting any cash in right now. Anytime during this little run right now, because I learned in 2017 that, like, unless you're gonna maintain and watch it, and you're in just for the short-term gains, ins and outs, then you know, like, if that's what you want to do, then play this market. But if you just feel like buying and long-term holding, which is what I like to do, because I'm not interested, because like my retirement investments and shit like that is not really in stocks. It's in crypto. That's what I believe in.
Right.
As far as the future financial markets, of the future are going to be like.
Right.
There's a lot of great things that are within crypto right now that are like not even scratching the surface as far as their technology can go. Right? Some of them their platforms aren't even fully released yet. Right? Some of them are updating constantly. Most of them are updating constantly and getting better with their algorithms that process information and increase speeds and lower transaction time and lower the transaction fees and all this and that, right? So there's a lot of different moving parts. There's a lot of different aspects. There's a lot of different things, right?
Would you say that it's still sort of like it's not completely out of the infancy stage? You know what I mean?
It's definitely still in the infancy stage.
Like, I guess that could kind of sum up what you're kind of trying to say there.
We're on the cusp of starting to see real like adoption. Like we are on the verge of it.
I would honestly,
it's almost available to the masses on a normal scale, right?
I mean, now that you say that, I wouldn't really be that surprised to see crypto pop up all over the place in 2021.
Well,
most of all years.
I could tell you one of the main companies that's buying up all the Bitcoin right now, and I'm talking like hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin as this run's going on. What's pushing this run up is big companies, big investment groups and banks and all of that. Like, that's who is pushing it up. Like,
yeah,
big capital, like big banks. Like, that's who's buying all this shit. Governments. Like, that's who's buying this shit.
Yeah, like,
right?
It's they're either gearing up for a complete entire flip, or they're just covering their assets.
Well, I think they're both. They're just hedging, right, against the dollar, against their own currencies, from whatever countries they're from, and all that. And with COVID, the thing about, everybody hears this a lot in the word inflation. Oh, they're inflating the dollar. The thing about like Bitcoin, for example, there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever going to be made.
Ever?
Right. Ever. Period. They're not going to make more.
But how did that get established?
That's coded into how the program is set up, how the system is set up.
So it's kind of like the real. It's kind of like that reminds me. It's kind of like the real version of Y2K.
Yes.
So, the computer was just gonna end right there.
Well, like, because of the fact that there are only 21 ever to be made, and it's not 21 million out now. It's 21 million ever to be made, and I think the last one is like mined in like 2100 or something. Right. Yeah. So every 4 years, the amount they call it the halvening, right, or the halving. Well, some people call it the halvening, right?
The halvening? Yeah, because the halvening kind of threw me off at first. I was like, that sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah. So,
but the halving?
Basically what happens is the amount of mining rewards gets cut in half. So the reward rate gets cut in half, right? So it becomes more and more scarce, but it draws out over a long period of time. And right now what we're seeing is a lot of these big investment banks, these big groups coming in, and they're buying up tons and tons of the supply. And it's estimated that there's only about 20 to 25% of the total liquid supply of Bitcoin right now, like, available on the market.
Okay.
And that's a that's a pretty tiny number, right? So Bitcoin is right now we're in like a scarcity bubble, I guess you could say, right? Where these last couple weeks, these big investors have been coming in, scooping it all up, right? And that's what's driving the price up, because they have to constantly, they're buying this big. They're not buying it like on the open market. They're buying like over the counter. So they're interacting directly with the exchanges, and buying it in bulk, right? They're buying in bulk. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to the supplier.
They're moving big money fast.
Right, because the miners move it to the exchanges, and then the exchanges are like the middleman to divvy it up to either us or to big investment groups over the counter.
Right. And they're just moving the line pretty much.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they're just shifting
it's all supply and demand, right? The demand is high and the supply is low. So it's basic economics in that sense.
Listen, for all you sports gamblers out there, it's called shifting the fucking line.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
Sharks
so,
do it all the time.
I mean, in 2017, J.P. Morgan and all these big investment banks,
his associates,
they were like completely against Bitcoin, at least in the public, right? At least on TV, at least.
Well, they got to wait till it's convenient for them.
And now this year, they're predicting that it could go over $100,000.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, I remember people predicting that it could go to $100,000 over that back then too. So going back to your original, like, should people buy? I don't know. I don't know. They'd have to make that decision on their own, and hopefully they don't risk, more money than they have to lose, right? And I would consider any money you put into crypto an immediate loss. Like, it's gone forever. Don't think about it.
Well, that's with anything you're investing in that way.
I mean, because for the very least, like, when you pull that money out, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. You're going to have to pay a capital gains tax. So you're going to want to keep it at least a year anyway, so you can maximize your benefit on that, so you're not getting fucking most of it taken away.
That's why, to make it easy for folks, let's just relate it to like gambling. It's like when most people go to Vegas, or they go, or even just like, let's not even say you're going to go to Vegas or any place where you're gambling,
right,
to even make it relatable for families. Let's just say you're going on a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you set a particular amount of money aside for that. And that amount of money that you set aside, it's considered spent. It's gone. It's not part of additional expenses on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just like vacation, right? But if we're relating it to Vegas, like, you go to Vegas like, all right, I got like a couple racks to blow. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just go. And if you double up on them, great. You know what I mean? Triple, whatever. And if you lose more than that, then that sucks. But that's the nature of the beast.
Right.
So basically, it's like, play at your own risk. But it's like, but scared money don't win none either.
That's true too.
So you got to play. It pays to play also.
I mean, like, I'm going to say, like, right now, I'm not putting any money in because I just don't have any extra available cash to just throw in right now. Yeah.
Yeah, just
like, I don't have any investment money planned right now. I have other things I have to take care of right
okay,
now,
but if you had some disposable money, you know what I mean? Some dispensable.
I would read the charts. I mean, that's what I would do. Like, if I had the money right now, I would read the charts. I would look for support and resistance levels. I would set, some smaller buys at certain areas and wait for the dips. Buy the dip. Buy the dip.
Speaking of dip, like, I was thinking the other day.
See, look, the thing is, like, a lot of people say buy the dip. But the thing is, people will buy on on green candles, and sell on red candles, right? Because you think, oh, green is go and red is stop, but it's really not.
Right. But you got to explain the candles to the people. They don't know what candles are.
I mean, well, when you're looking at the chart, even not necessarily the candle, but just a chart in general, or you're looking at the price, and you see the price is red. That's not when you sell. That's when you buy. When the price is green, that's when you sell, right? Like,
right.
And if you keep that method up, then you're probably gonna make some money. Like,
well, yeah.
But just remember, like, every trade is taxable, right? Every time you go dollar into Bitcoin, I believe that's a taxable event, and I'm not exactly sure if going into Bitcoin is a taxable event, but I'm pretty sure it is. But if you move Bitcoin into another coin, that's a taxable event. Even if you're going to Tether or USDC or one of the other stable coins out there, those are all taxable events. If you're constantly trading back and forth all day, every day, those are all taxable events. So just keep in mind what your strategy is going to be if you are planning to invest. That's why I don't fucking sit here and trade left and right. Like, I'll look for the opportunity if it comes on in the chart. Like, that's where I'm at with it now.
I need to remember.
I know how to read charts now, so
ain't
that's
no
how
taxation without representation. You hear? So there you have it. You know what I do think though? I think that they should change. It's gonna suck that I'm gonna say what I got from all that is this, but I think that they should change Thanksgiving, the name of Thanksgiving, because everybody's upset because it's supposedly, Christopher Columbus came and sat down with a bunch of natives and they ate turkey and all kinds of good,
I guess, but really, was it even Christopher Columbus? I didn't think it was Columbus.
Oh, well, whatever.
I thought it was the Pilgrims.
Whatever the story was. I don't even know the story of Thanksgiving anymore. It's fucking so crazy. But the point I was going to make is I think they should just call it the halving then. Because they just came and have that.
Well, we had the thing about that's why like what's interesting about the halvening too. Is for anybody that's new or on the outside of crypto that's just curious about what we're talking about. I know because I see we got a couple viewers. So the thing about the halvening is every time the halvening happens, then the bull run starts, right? Because now the scarcity, the next level of scarcity kicks in. So after it happens every time, the price goes up, and then it comes down, and then it stables, and goes up, come down, stable, goes up, come down, stable, like, and the next thing you know, like it's like a ladder. Every 4 years, like we reach a new plateau.
Right.
So, and every coin has some form of the halvening. Some, like for example, like Cardano, I believe, like takes like 0.01% off of every I don't know, I forget, like every like couple weeks or something like that. Okay. So like their spread out is smooth and even, so you don't have these crazy like every 4 years just the shit goes crazy.
No giant drop offs.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, speaking of having though, you know what I've been having lately? A lot. Is fucking pastrami sandwiches. Because you know how I've been saying I've been going to the beach to go take pictures and stuff like that? I've been going to this spot in El Segundo called Rinaldi's. Dude, they make some amazing... It's like a real legit sandwich deli. And I started thinking, I'm like...
Where's that chocolate cake at, though?
Yeah, I got to bring the chocolate cake.
Man.
Well... The other two episodes were like...
You're not allowed to bring up any other food places until you bring that chocolate cake.
Yeah, okay, this is the last food place. But yeah, the other two episodes are holiday episodes. I think those places are closed for holidays for the cake.
Okay.
So
I'll give you that.
But this episode probably could have brought it. But it was a funky one. It was a funky one. I had a family coming in. But anyway, so yeah. I started thinking, like, damn, man, what's the best pastrami sandwich I've had in this area? And to me, I thought of 3 places right off top. I don't know. And I had to include that place, Rinaldi's, just because it's recent. I think that was just a proximity choice, like proximity in time. Where I was just like, oh, that Rinaldi's, that was a banger. But I'd say Rinaldi's, Busy Bees, or Yo Way. sandwiches.
I don't think I've had the pastrami from Yo Way.
Yeah, it's pretty banging. It's pretty banging because it sucks because, like, everybody in LA will tell you that, like, pastrami's good at, like, a place like The Hat or some shit like that. And deal with this shit, LA. But I've had The Hat pastrami, and it's not all that. It's all right. I've had better pastrami at Steve's. And that's the goddamn truth. Yep.
The best pastrami I've had.
You've ever had.
It's probably Steven Burger.
Which one?
Normandy and El Segundo.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's not Steven's Burger. It's literally Steven Burger.
Yeah, but
it's the most hole in the wall.
But that's the place where you're going to find good pastrami.
Like, that shit on its lips got some shit on its lip type fucking hole in the wall spot. Like, but it's got the best. Low key, they got the best chili cheese fries with pastrami on top. Like,
pastrami fry. Okay, do you get those with spicy mustard or no spicy mustard?
Nah, I don't put mustard on them now.
So you don't do your pastrami and mustard. You do your pastrami.
No, pastrami sandwich, yes, but not the pastrami chili cheese fries.
Okay.
Yeah, because mustard on chili, I don't know, it seems kind of interesting.
Oh, man, actually, I'd do it.
But
I'd fuck with it. But, like, some people do marinara on their pastrami. I guess that's like the Busy Bee style.
That's interesting.
Like, you put marinara. That's good.
That's interesting.
That's really good, actually.
I like that.
Whew. But,
I
yeah. Pastrami with marinara, dude, that's a banger.
Yeah, I like that.
So I just started thinking about sandwich places. That's all that was.
I like that.
But it's just like, damn, that's a good
Speaking of sandwich
like
places, you know, most of them are digital now, right? Like, most of them, their POS system is all digital now, right? So they accept, like PayPal, for example. They'll accept, like, PayPal and shit.
Right.
Well, PayPal is one of the biggest companies buying up all this Bitcoin right now because they're going to offer it to the masses as a way of
I like that. I like how you brought it back full circle.
Of taking
to Bitcoin.
Right. So they're going to be able to offer merchants the ability to accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in the near future.
That makes sense.
So they are one of the ones that are buying up a lot, like hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right, because they're going to sell it to the masses themselves.
Oh, dude, it's going to be like by the time we get to that Demolition Man kibble. Remember that kibble they feed everybody at Taco Bell? There's only one restaurant and it's Taco Bell. Yeah, by the time they're feeding you that kibble, you're going to be paying in Bitcoin. You're going to be like, hey, here's 40 Bitcoins for 3 sacks of kibble. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. So
you want oat milk?
I mean, you got any other questions about crypto? I know you got something.
Honestly,
actually, I got a question for you.
Yeah, I was mostly intrigued in the spike because I don't understand it. I do understand it, like from an outsider's point of view, more looking at it like anybody outsider would look at stocks.
Right.
But I don't understand if like these spikes really mean good things or bad things or neither, or if it just means regular growth.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Because it could mean, or it could mean all those things, right?
Any time the price goes up, it's a good thing.
It's just interesting, especially like I said, as more and more people in 2020 and beyond now are gonna look to other places, to other resources.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
For money, you know what I mean?
The problem though with Bitcoin is it's slow. Yeah. It's pretty slow.
No, and so then that's why I went at the beginning. I was asking about I feel like it's been talked about for so long that people still don't want to believe that it's in its infancy. I feel like that kind of shit happens with a lot of stuff though.
Well, Bitcoin is a first generation cryptocurrency. Its birthday was just the other day. It's been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, but it is a first generation cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
Ethereum is a second generation cryptocurrency, and things like Cardano, Polkadot, and like VeChain, I think, are third generation cryptocurrencies. And then you have something, and all of these run on blockchain technology. I'm not going to go into what that is.
Right, but the point is, it just seems like it's been a conversation for a long time. Yeah. Like, it's been around for a while already. It's like when people didn't believe that YouTube had been around for 10 years when it was.
Right.
It's like, what?
Right.
Like, nah, man, we just barely started getting videos on the internet. Like, nah, man, not really.
Well, I think, like, I mean, I trip out when I think about that. Like, Mark Zuckerberg's first, like, TV appearance was in 2004. So that means Facebook been around, you know what I mean? Like,
for a while.
For a cool minute, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember I probably got on, like...
this is another one that people forget. Like, people forget that it was around...
longer than that.
It was living side by side with MySpace.
Yeah, it was.
For a little while.
It took it out, right?
Yeah, it took it out. It showed up. Like, nobody wanted to go to Facebook. Facebook was legit the college MySpace. Like, that's like if you're a college nerd. Like, it felt more like what LinkedIn feels like now. You know what I mean? Like, LinkedIn is just a weird one because it's just like, it's a professional social network. It's like, how or why do you want a professional social network? It doesn't make sense.
That difference you're right.
But I guess, of course it makes sense. It's a network. Mm-hmm. But I guess then just don't ever call it a social network. Just call it a professional network.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, the professional network.
I still like the old Facebook layout. I thought it was. I still think that was the best.
Yeah, but we like the best beginning of every social network. Yeah. It always starts off
good. It was good though.
When it's raw, it's the best.
It was good though.
When it's raw, it's the best. Like, Instagram was also like that.
And they learned their lesson on that shit because they would do these massive dramatic changes just like overnight, right? Like almost no warning. Like sometimes like you would just come online one day and it would just be a whole different website. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Right, you remember that shit?
Yeah.
Well, they learned because they would get so much backlash from that shit that they actually needed to just do like one small change at a time, and over time,
isn't that what's most interesting about Facebook though? Is that it was because it started getting people connected so fast. It was like one of the first like easy collections of data.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Mass amounts of human data.
Easily.
Easily. Because before they would run all those fake bootleg tests. Right. How many times would you like go to the mall? And there'd be like some dude with a clipboard standing at the mall, and he'd be like, "Hey, you want to make $20?" And you'd be broke as shit. You'd be like, "Hell yeah!" You go into a room and they ask you a bunch of questions about products.
Yeah, I did that one time.
I did that shit a few times because I was just broke as fuck at the mall.
Yeah, but I was
young.
I was gonna say I did that one time for Subway. So we're going back to the sandwich. To the sandwich shop.
Going all the way back. So, I'm gonna call you the Earl of Sandwich.
I'm on the roll with the comebacks.
Yeah. You're about to be the new Earl of Sandwich.
I got the callbacks today. But anyway, so
Nathaniel, first Earl of Sandwich.
So like, I remember we went in and did that. I can't remember who I was with, but I remember we were at the mall, Galleria Mall, right?
Right.
And they had the dudes with the clipboard and was like,
man,
do you want to
walks around with his little polo and shit?
He's like, do you want to test out some Subway sandwiches? And we're like, cool. Like,
test them out.
we were young, we were broke. So
pre-COVID people, so
not
it's cool.
broke, but
yeah, you just didn't want to spend money.
Right,
like you would take free money when you're like that young.
Yeah, take a free sandwich because then I got weed money now,
bro.
Shit,
and you don't know where money's gonna come from.
Right.
You're living in a world where you're like, I don't know where my next dollar is gonna come from. So it's just like I'll take any dollar I could get.
So anyway, we go into this fucking little room or whatever, and fucking. They tell us, okay,
you got them sandwiches,
right? Like y'all got some sandwiches. So,
oh man.
So anyway, they told us that like, you're gonna sample Subway breakfast menu. I was like, fuck, like a breakfast sandwich,
fake ass egg.
A breakfast sandwich don't even sound like it's gonna be good from Subway. Anyway. So they gave us three different ones, right? Like they give you three different sandwiches, and it's really like a bite of the sandwich. Like you really get like,
it's a tiny one.
Yeah, it's like a small version of it or whatever, or
like
it's like they made it one for
Like
for
bagel
us,
bites.
and then cut it in 3 pieces, and then each gave us a piece. That's what it felt like. So it was
it's like
all
party
right,
tray sandwiches.
Yeah,
party tray sandwiches.
exactly.
Party tray sandwiches.
So it was like, all right, whatever,
Who
right?
brought the sandwiches?
So.
Hey. Oh man.
So anyway, we try out the sandwiches. They give you the 3 little sandwiches, the 3 pieces of the 3 sandwiches.
All right.
And then a bottle of water, right? And not even the whole bottle.
That little
mini bottle.
That's what I already figured. Because it sounded like they used to give us those lunches when we were like kids at school. Like when it'd be like a sponsored field trip.
Yeah.
You get like a small Subway sandwich. It was like the tiniest shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a little bottle of water.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, like a slice of like apple, but it's 2 slices. It's like, what kind of apple's just 2 slices? Hey.
Man, so anyway,
all right.
that shit was trash. But they hooked us up with that shit and then gave us $5 cash.
Okay.
So, I mean,
here's a shitty
I didn't have to spend the money.
for $5.
Right. I didn't have to spend the money I had. I ate 3 sandwiches 3 pieces of 3 sandwiches that basically equal 1 sandwich. And then so I got a free sandwich, I didn't have to spend my own money, and then they gave me $5. So it was like, damn, cool. And a little baby bottle sip of water and shit.
That's cool, man. They got you hydrated for $5,
Yeah.
man. I'll take the hydration for $5. But I don't know what's in them breakfast sandwiches though, especially at Subway.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't great, to be honest.
Yeah, that's
they weren't great. They weren't great.
Because
they were great. No, I mean, one was
I feel like I've had breakfast at
no,
Subway,
but one was like it was almost like a fucking like an Egg McMuffin almost. Like it was
that's
weird.
Not right.
It was weird. Like
it's not right. Like I don't want that from Subway.
That was my thing. Like I was
I don't want that from
this
Subway.
is actually a decent fast food breakfast sandwich. Low key. Like it was a pretty decent fast food breakfast sandwich, but not from Subway. Like I don't know. Like it just the thought of it was it just threw me off.
Yeah, like don't.
It just threw me off.
Yeah.
But what's crazy though is like fucking soon probably Subway will be accepting Bitcoin too. So I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll go back and buy me a breakfast sandwich with some Bitcoin one day. Cause they did eventually they do have breakfast sandwiches now.
You think that?
So maybe I helped them come to that decision. Like this was cool.
You think if it ever becomes common currency? That's funny. Common currency. I want a shirt like that. If it ever becomes common currency, do you think that they'll call them like people just for like slang? You know how we just call them bills, dollars, whatever. They call them biddies.
Nah, because the small, like the decimal places of Bitcoin are called Satoshis, after the founder Satoshi Nakamoto.
So they're gonna be Satoshis.
Yeah, everybody calls them Satoshis. Stacking sats.
Yeah, but that's not gonna hold. Like I'm sure
that's gonna hold, bro.
I'm sure they called it dollars.
That's
like something else a long time ago.
That's gonna fucking hold.
Do you think they were always just like, hey, give me $1?
People are not gonna probably say the whole word Satoshi.
That's what I'm saying. So what are they gonna call it? Yeah,
but
like Satos. Hey, let me get a couple Satos.
The phrase right now is stacking sats.
Stacking sats.
Right.
Okay, sats. No, that makes sense to me. There you go.
Sats,
That's what I mean. Let's get down.
Yeah.
Like they were. My whole point was nobody's gonna say Satoshi forever. The whole goddamn thing.
But I'm saying that's.
Hey, let me get 10 Satoshis.
That's what they're called. Yeah.
Bro, you could just said 10 Satos, bro. 10 Satos, like them SATA drives. Get your memory up, baby.
And then
shout outs.
And like, so for example, like Cardano, their coin is named Ada, right, after Ada Lovelace, right, and obviously they need a name for sats too. So people in the community have been calling them Lovelaces. So that's not gonna fucking last, right? Because
that's ridiculous.
Like the thing is, like,
but who knows?
Like it's great respect to one of the greatest mathematicians and scientists to ever live, right?
Yeah.
But it's not good branding though. Like,
well, it's kind of it. What's
I got all my money in Cardano too, man. It's like,
you know,
is so bad.
Well, what's the irony of that is like that a lot of like
so nerdy.
When you look into like a lot of states, like cities
Mm-hmm.
in the states, in the United States, like a lot of them, or like streets or whatever, whenever it sounds or looks like a person's name, it's usually because that person died there. Like whoever, shit. You know what I mean? Like it could be Bruce Park. It'd be like, man, some dude named Bruce. Something happened, man. Something happened right here.
They named it after Brucey Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce. A couple seawolves just got him right here, right on the hill.
I always find you know what I always find funny is like when you're driving through like a neighborhood, and like the street names are themed.
Like for
like you'll be driving, it'll be like Orange Street, Apple Street.
Oh yeah.
Strawberry Street, Strawberry Avenue, or some shit. Like,
the street that my house used to be on was called Enchanted Trail.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the Enchanted Trail.
And what was the next street over? Fairy Lane.
Who knows? I don't even remember, but it was probably something interesting like that.
Right, the Yellow Brick Road.
Narnia or something. You know what I mean?
The closet, the wardrobe and shit.
What? Wardrobe
Avenue.
Yeah, you had to say it a particular way, with an accent. Polsk. Shout out to Scotland and to, I was going to say Liam Neeson, but I think he's Irish. Yeah. Tum and Tool. Oh, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, what you got? Anything?
That's pretty much all I got for today. That was a pretty
solid.
good one, man. Yeah, because there was a lot of madness happening.
Yeah.
But I'm good. I'm a little all talked out. This weed got me right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy-ass fucking week, too.
It's 2021, and we're at the beginning. So if you guys need context, remember to rewind and rewatch this episode at the beginning of 2022. Okay? Come all the way back. So you guys can remember this time.
Come back. Come
all the way back.
But yeah, if you're watching this replay on YouTube, please make sure you like, subscribe, all that jazz. If you're still with us on Twitch, fucking much love. Shout out to Beans for all the fucking comments and shit.
Yeah, he's out there in the chat. Shout out.
You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that watched today.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.
We are fucking out, motherfuckers. Foolery. In a second.
Yep. This joint's for you. As per usual.